The Montgomery mansion sat on top of a quiet hill in the suburbs of Connecticut, tall pillars, wide windows, and a lawn trimmed so perfectly it looked unreal. Inside lived Edward Montgomery, a man worth nearly $200 million, wealthy, polished, respected, but busy. Too busy to eat breakfast at the table, too busy to tuck his son in, too busy to realize how much distance had grown between him and the one person who needed him most, his 8-year-old son, Lucas. Most days, Lucas spent time with the housemaid, Angela Thompson, a hardworking black woman in her late 40s. She'd taken the job years ago. After losing her husband and needing steady income, she was gentle, wise, and had a smile soft enough to calm storms. She treated Lucas like family, and in truth, Lucas looked at her the same way. On a rainy Friday afternoon, Edward's private jet was scheduled to land at 10 p.m., but negotiations in London wrapped early, and he arrived home 6 hours sooner, tired, agitated, and carrying the exhaustion of a man who had everything except what mattered. He pulled into his driveway quietly, wanting nothing more than a hot shower and silence. But the moment he stepped through the front door, he heard something, a voice. No, two voices, coming from the living room. He frowned. He wasn't expecting anyone. Lucas, he called softly. No response. Curious and cautious. Edward stepped deeper into the house. As he approached the living room, he suddenly froze. There, on the floor, sat Lucas and Angela. A candle flickered on the table. Books were scattered around them, and Lucas was crying. Angela held his small hands gently. Baby, breathe, just breathe, she whispered, guiding him through slow inhales. You're safe, I promise. Lucas's voice trembled. I can't do it, Miss Angela. Everyone is better than me. I'm dumb. Angela cupped his cheeks, wiping his tears with her thumbs. Hey, look at me, she whispered. You are not dumb. You are not less. You are brave, and you are loved. Edward felt his chest tighten. Lucas sniffled. Dad doesn't have time. He doesn't care. Those words stabbed deeper than any knife. Edward's breath hitched. Angela pulled Lucas into her arms. Your father loves you, baby. He does. He's just lost right now. Adults get lost too. Edward's eyes burned. He leaned quietly against the wall, hidden, watching the moment unfold like something fragile too precious to interrupt. Angela continued softly. Now, show me what you wrote. Lucas hesitated, then picked up a notebook. Pages filled with messy handwriting, math scribbles. A short essay crossed out multiple times. He handed it to her with trembling fingers. I keep messing up, sweetheart, Angela said gently. Mistakes mean you're learning. She took a deep breath. Do you know why I read so well? Why I teach well? Lucas shook his head. Angela rested a hand over her heart. Because I grew up in a world that kept telling me I shouldn't try. That girls like me, black girls from the South Side, didn't deserve to read, didn't deserve dreams, didn't deserve chances. Lucas blinked. That's not fair. No, baby, she whispered. It wasn't. But my mama, she always said, if the door doesn't open, build your OWN door. So I read by flashlight. I practiced in church basements. I refused to let the world tell me who I was. Lucas listened with full attention. So don't you ever let fear make you small, Angela said firmly. You are powerful, Lucas, and you can do anything. Lucas's lip quivered, but this time, not from fear, from hope. Angela handed him a pencil. Now, let's try again. Together. Edward felt something inside him crumble. He had given his son money, toys, vacations, privileges, but not time, not warmth, not heart. A maid, a woman society overlooked, had given his son more love in one afternoon than he had in months. His throat tightened with a painful shame. He stepped out from behind the corner. Angela looked up first, startled. Lucas turned, eyes widening. Dad, you're home early. Edward swallowed hard. I am. Lucas lowered his gaze, bracing for disappointment. But instead, Edward knelt, right there, on the carpet, at his son's height. Lucas, he whispered, voice breaking. I'm so sorry. Lucas blinked, confused. For what? For not being here, for not listening, for not, his voice cracked, for not being the father you deserved. Angela looked away politely, giving them space. But Lucas crawled into his father's arms like he'd been waiting years. Edward hugged him tightly, burying his face in Lucas's hair. I love you, son, he whispered. More than any deal, more than any job, I'm here. I'm really here. Lucas gripped him back. I missed you, Dad. Edward exhaled shakily and looked up at Angela. For a moment, neither spoke, until Angela whispered, he just needed you. Edward nodded, eyes glassy. I know, and thank you, for being the mother he didn't have with him, for giving him what I couldn't. Angela smiled softly. He's a good boy. He is, Edward said, glancing at Lucas proudly. And starting today, I'll be here to see him grow. Lucas smiled, big enough to light the room. The next morning, Edward called his lawyer and HR team. By noon, Angela was brought into the office. Is everything okay, sir? She asked nervously. Edward stood, handed her an envelope, and bowed his head slightly, something she'd never seen a millionaire do. Angela, he said, I owe you more than I can ever repay. She hesitated. Sir, I was just doing my job. No, he said softly. You were doing my job. She opened the envelope. Her hands shook. Inside was a full scholarship to any university she chose, nursing, education, counseling, whatever she dreamed of, and a handwritten note. Thank you for saving my son's heart. Now let me help you fulfill yours. Angela's eyes filled with tears. Mr. Montgomery, I don't know what to say. Say you'll let me support you the way you supported my family. She nodded, tears falling freely. Yes, sir. Thank you, Edward smiled softly. And Angela, he added, you're not our maid anymore. Your family and our home will always be open to you. Angela pressed a hand to her heart. Lucas ran in and hugged her tightly. Miss Angela, guess what Dad said? He's gonna help me with homework from now on. Angela laughed through her tears. Good, because you're brilliant. Edward smiled at the scene, grateful, humbled, changed. His wealth had built a mansion, but Angela had built a home that night. As the sun dipped behind the hills, Edward sat with Lucas on the living room floor, reading aloud from the very same notebook Angela had used. Lucas leaned into him. Comfortable, safe. Dad, he asked softly. Yeah, buddy, are you gonna be here more? Edward kissed the top of his head. Always. Lucas smiled. And for the first time in years, the Montgomery house felt warm. Moral of the story, the greatest wealth isn't money, it's presence, love, and the people who teach us what truly matters. Never underestimate the quiet heroes who change lives through compassion, patience, and heart. Sometimes, the lessons that save us come from the most unexpected teachers.